Hey everyone, Reflected here, and today I'm going to tell you the story of Mosquito Mayhem, a free, dynamic, co-op slash multi-crew mosquito mission I made, and why I ended up not releasing it, and also how it made me appreciate scripted campaigns a lot more. So the idea was to listen to community feedback I've been getting and build a co-op mission that can be flown as a single ship in single player or multi-crew or multi-aircraft with friends. I also wanted to make it fully dynamic. No trigger zones you need to hit, no briefings to follow, no requirements. You are thrown into the war and do whatever you like. Enjoy the mission however you feel appropriate. Nobody forces you to do anything. None of the constraints of a scripted mission. Sounds amazing, right? Well, I thought so too. The first problem I ran into was performance. In my World War II missions, I'm careful to only populate the area where the player will fly, but populate it well and realistically. So I made a flag template for the entire Normandy map with every heavy and light flag battery in their historic location. Then I added trucks, cars, trains, convoys, tanks, and other ground targets, so that wherever the player wishes to fly, they'll find something to attack. Super dynamic. Yeah, well, I fired up the mission and got around 8 FPS because there were way too many units in the mission. I needed all of them because what if you decide to fly there? But I slowly had to delete them to make them more sparse, and I ended up with a map that's quite empty and not much fun, and my FPS was still not that great. Same with airplanes. In my campaigns, only the ones that the player can see have to actually be there. The ones you don't are deactivated or not there to begin with. You can only hear them on the radio. Here you have dozens and dozens of planes flying around doing their thing, and you probably would never meet most of them. So I found that in my campaigns you can fly in an environment that's much more alive and still have better performance. Okay, let's fly the mission anyway. Well, it was just boring. If you played my campaigns, you know that realistic voiceovers can make you feel like you're there and flying with real people. And there are dozens, even hundreds of those. Well, in order to set up a voiceover, or add basically anything, any immersive little detail, the mission maker has to know, has to be able to predict what's gonna happen. Like, enemy trucks, 2 o'clock low. Where? I can't see them. They're just entering that little village. Tally-ho, let's attack. Just an example. But to make this work, I have to be sure that those trucks will be at the player's 2 o'clock at that precise time and just entering the aforementioned village. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense. But in this one, you fly wherever you like, so I can't be sure of anything. Consequently, no voiceovers at all. The same with the multi-crew or co-op factor. Even with one player, it's sometimes pretty hard to predict things. A target destroyed trigger or call should come when the target is dead, right? But what if the player misses? What if only the first bomb misses but the second is a hit? What if the player attacks the wrong target? What if the AI misses? It's a multi-dimensional matrix with so many what-ifs, and I have to be prepared for every scenario. I can't get the mission stuck because the events didn't follow the textbook. They never do. If you add more than one player to the equation, it increases the possibilities exponentially, and I can't foresee anything at all, leaving me with nothing to base my triggers on. Same with complex triggers, for example the ones that check the position of your cockpit switches. I can have your navigator say, undercarriage coming up, when you move the gear lever. But as soon as there are more than one players, these don't work anymore because there are more than one active cockpits, and this is just one example. In FIFA Victory, I set up a navigator that tells you your new course and recommends corrections if you drift off. But since here, you fly wherever you want, how could the navigator help? How can I foresee what course you'll need to follow wherever you want to go, and then record a voiceover for it? But I flew the mission anyway. Low FPS, dead silence. I found some trucks after 1 hour, strafed them, and flew another hour back home, in silence. No surprise events, no unexpected twists to the story, because there's no story to begin with. So I crumpled the mission and slam dunked it into the nearest trash can. Because of the multiplayer and dynamic nature of the mission, all the little things that make my scripted campaign so immersive were slowly stripped away, and I was left with something really soulless that I wouldn't want to have my name on. It also made me appreciate those little things even more. After all, the main goal is to build up a complete illusion of being there in World War II, flying the mission with all those aircraft in the sky, being part of history, have a sense of the scale of the events, and realize how much of a small clog in the machine you are. That's humbling, that's immersive, that's a valuable history lesson. The result of this project wasn't any of that. It also demonstrated why single-player missions can't just be turned into co-op or multi-crew that easily, because they're so fundamentally different. So, with that renewed sense of appreciation of scripted single-player missions, I'm moving back to building my new P-51 campaign, Depton Eagles. Optimize the hell out of it, and make sure it's full of those little things that turned it into an immersive time machine. Alright, see ya!